Welcome to recap of Week 1 of UPC's first season of Sword and Shield. I'm Dean.
I'm Will.
Who are you?
Thomas.
I'm Thomas. Who are you?
Yep, that's him. That's him.
You went into the
Me?
Matrix. You're Will.
I'm a specter.
I'm Thomas.
I'm a figment of an imagination. But we're going to be giving you some coverage over the first week of our competitions. We got 4 great games for you guys. We're going to do some really competitive stuff, some new strats, really neat and interesting gameplay with some Pokemon you may not have seen yet since the release of the game, especially not being used competitive.
All right, so
Yeah, the first game we got here. Oh, yep.
go ahead, Will. You kind of cut out on us for a second.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna come back in strength here, with strength. Yeah, the first we got is our buddy Russ Fitch, the gray there in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And then we got your host Dean, CO27, Old Cobalt down there with his lineup. So that was the first match of our season here.
And what a way to kick it off with seeing Gen 5 dominate this match.
It's great to see a lot of Gen 5 coming back, but it's also not great because
It's pretty disgusting.
those ones have such power. It's new. That's bad. But, we are seeing a good handful. Okay, we've got 3 Galarmons on each side here. We've got the Dragozolt on the top end, the Pincurchin, Ice Cube, and on the bottom end we had Grant, Runerigus, and Surfetch, the long-awaited evolution of the Farfetch'd. So this is a really, really good matchup showcasing some brand new Pokemon.
And let's go ahead and get this one started. Of course, we led off with our sticky web setters.
The pace of the game. Obviously, Shuckle doesn't benefit a whole lot from that speed drop, but everything else on Russell's team is going to really, really take advantage of that speed drop up on stage automatically. That's the status.
You're cutting out pretty bad, Will.
That toxic really just quick, especially against a bulky
I
Shuckle.
think what Will's trying to say is Shuckle's dead. But yeah, the sticky web's not good for the Dragozolt, who's probably got Bolt Beak.
Haxorus with the Mold Breaker ability. Now that's key because Mold Breaker is such a great competitive ability, and even with that speed drop, he's going to be able to try to peel his way right back out of that, even being hit by Electro Webs. So
I did like
Haxorus
the
is
Electro
definitely a
Web
threat
tech, just
coming
slow
in
him
there
down
looking
even
scary.
more.
Toxic damage coming in to really take its toll on the Galvantula as it knocks it out.
Why'd you decide to send it in Surfetch, Dean?
Well, I was hoping First Impression would do enough to
It did
finish
more
it
than
out,
I thought when I initially saw it.
but I knew he wasn't going to live very long.
Haxorus is already decently fast. I think his base stat speed is somewhere in the 90s. Am I right there?
I believe it's 97.
That two times attack. Yeah, 97 is nothing to balk at, and then 2 times attack on that. I think it's 127 attack somewhere in there in that neighborhood. It's just uncanny how strong it is with that 2 times boost.
And you saw Runegrigus' signature ability, take Mold Breaker, which comes in handy soon.
Really sets up well because that Ice Cube with the ice face thinks that it can live the hit. Nope, sorry.
Stole
Dynamax
Mold
Rockfall
Breaker.
coming in. Absolutely uses that Mold Breaker to crush through the ice face and absolutely obliterate that Ice Cube without it doing any kind of damage whatsoever.
Which is really disappointing because I think Ice Cube's ability is really cool, but just the fact that he installed the Mold Breaker was great.
Pun there was definitely intended. And Russell had reserved his right to Dynamax there until this turn, trying to come in against that Runerigus, even though he's kind of at a tight disadvantage with Conkeldurr being fighting type and Runerigus being ground and ghost type. There's not a whole lot
Yeah,
of
you can't get any max knuckles on him.
No setup there.
Yeah, I think he used 2 turns of the Dynamax to take that out.
I think it did, yes.
Yeah, this is the final turn of Dyna.
Psychic Fangs is an excellent new move they had. It is new, right? No? Okay. It just became more popular.
After a couple of generations, yeah, but it's become rampant now because a lot of things can get access to all of those Fang moves.
That's why I haven't seen it then.
Yeah, between Psychic Fangs and Zen Headbutt, we'll see a lot of Dynamax Max Mindstorms be really, really neat. I don't control those priorities.
Dean's fat squirrel unfortunately doesn't live long.
Yeah, poor Greedent. That fat squirrel, he just couldn't live. He wasn't meant to be here, the emotion.
Just thoughts on the end of match, Dean?
Yeah, once the conch kind of came in and set up on me, I knew there was really nothing I could really do about it. I tried to have a couple answers for it, but there just was no 100% answer with my team.
Yeah, the setup wasn't even that great, but with, I guess he was Guts.
Yeah.
And just the rest of your team being pretty weak, unfortunately.
Doesn't seem like a very intuitive thing to say here, but the damage output of Conkeldurr is linked versus what he take because of his bulk. It just doesn't stack up enough, even with it being burned, to activate that Guts ability. It's just so hard to wear it down when it's so thick, and then when it Dynamaxes and gets that 2 times health number of hit points, then it's uncanny how hard it is to take out. So understandable, Dean, that Conkeldurr can get the sweep on you there, but you gave it a good go. There was some neat tech, and you did manage to eliminate 3 of his Pokemon, and the other 2 may not have been able to do anything. Dracozolt and Pink Urchin. So hats off to you. Conkeldurr's just the problem.
Okay.
Of course, good job for Russ as well. He played very, very well and waited on his haunches for that Conkeldurr to activate the Dynamax and really be able to take control of the game at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like we said in the draft analysis, he's just grown so much as a player in the last couple seasons that it's, anymore you'd be surprised to lose to him. But today, in this day and age, he's good. You can't deny that.
He's definitely made leaps and bounds, massive strides into progressing as a competitive player.
Not anything against him anyway, but first match of the season is very, I'm not going to say random, but you're not used to your team yet, so it could really go either way.
I think it's more a very true statement, and then I think it's even more so this season because there's a lot of just new Pokemon that haven't even found their niche in the meta yet. So what's available for that first week playoff game, like the first week matchup, is just I don't know. It's pinnacle to creativity because whoever has the most creative set that's just unpredictable off the wall usually comes out with it. So a very, very intuitive team, and using Dynamax with, as Dean mentioned earlier, a lot of Gen 5 Pokemon that like Conkeldurr, that was huge. No pun intended.
He's huge.
He was large. It's a big clown.
We're probably
I wish the Dynamax noises were better, and of course I wish Showdown had that, because I wish Conkeldurr, when it Dynamaxed, it was like the squeaking of its ball nose going.
Definitely should be a alternate model where he's just a clown face.
Is now that was a 3-0 win for Russell. That's really going to set him off well to start this season. We do differentials for tie breaking, and it really just helps to rank everyone through as the season progresses. So Russell getting a week 1 win with the +3 differential is definitely going to help him out longer down the road. So hop into that next game.
All right, our next match is Hunter versus Matt Hurley.
The San Francisco Ninetales being Hurley's team at the top, and then the Sacramento Nido-Kings being HM586 at the bottom with the High Dragon. They're flapping away, ready to go.
Seeing about the same kind of even spread of new to old in this matchup. Hunter's got a 4th on his side this game, but Again, Gen 5 making a pretty big appearance, and
He has one ground resistance immunity and that's the
Who dat?
So right off the bat, he has no resistance to the ground. That's the bronze.
Win con being isolated even before the game started was really big going into this one. We won't reveal anything yet, but that massive ground type weakness or lack of resistance, therefore, is going to become a big play in this game. But there are some threats. There are really these teams want to talk about.
Yeah, you've got presumably Shell Smash Poltergeist at the bottom.
I think it's terrifying.
And potentially a GMAX Snorlax, but let's get into it. See what they pulled off.
You see graph.
Yeah, leading with Hydreigon.
That Pokemon is.
I don't know. Leading with Hydreigon's a weird move to me.
He was expecting something like a U-turn or an effect U-turn over a slow Pokemon like blocked. An interesting lead for sure, but seeing that Sucker Punch makes a whole lot of sense.
Sucker Punch was very nice. Hurley's played in the league before, I think, but he's definitely the newest member and he's still learning some stuff. So seeing the Sucker Punch on that was really great.
Snarl automatically coming in and set the screens to try to make the rest of the natural bulk on Hunter's team just even.
Now I feel
better.
Hunter got greedy here, coiling again. Whereas Hurley got a crit, so that did matter. That's still a lot of damage without the crit.
Yeah, the crit was definitely most of it, and fortunately for him, he gets the shed skin to shake off that burn.
Right.
And I think he was expecting that just natural bulk plus that screen protection, even that maybe he would have lived any kind of hit like that.
Yeah, the Dynamax doesn't make much sense to me, but
had to back
people are still trying to get the hang of it. So
it definitely. If you burn only at 3 turns and then it's gone, that's how. So you have to really sit back and be patient while putting that down next there with a whole team left staring at you.
wasn't super big on the air slash on there. I didn't know what he was thinking about putting the special move on Bisharp, but
surprised me as well.
I think when I saw that, the first thing that spoke to me was that he was hoping to Dynamax the Bisharp, and that Dynamax Bisharp Matter String just boost it needs to sweep even Pokemon like Hydreigon.
That would have been
and
interesting.
The guys got a Shell Smash out. Yes, it would have. I think that was the idea there, and then he had it, and it was the only super effective move. He decided to go with that over, say, an Iron Head or a knockoff.
And I think Eldegoss is physically defensive anyway, so.
It's pretty thick on the physical side. That grass, solo typing, really gives it a lot of resistances naturally, and then the special defense is really where it's at. I think it's got like a 120, 125 somewhere in there on the special defense side, which is impressive.
It's very thick, and it gets Regenerator.
Don't understand the haze play there on Toxapex, but seeing these 2 Regenerator Pokemon on the field, you really have to wonder what's going to happen there. There's not going to be a whole lot of headway either direction.
Especially with the juxtaposing types and him not having a poison type move, presumably.
Now, seeing Colossal with a special that was also in, I wasn't expecting that. I think it was going to give out a lot of damage. Colossal's just got such a powerful move pool with the fire type moves, and potential to set up as well. Very Pokemon especially.
And this the EQ predict right here was a nice move
It's
on his part.
In a way, a prediction like that is great for the guy who gets it right. But then, also as well, because Bronzong has that as an ability, you get to figure out that, yes, this is indeed the levitate ability instead of the heat proof ability. So that'll open up the door for a lot of things later on.
Even having Toxapeck as the only answer to Sandaconda right now is dangerous, because Toxapeck still takes 2x from ground, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does, yes. So even though it's a very bulky Pokemon with a great defense and special defense stat, it's not meant to take those kind of ground type hits.
Definitely not, even with its thick defense.
Legoss playing off types that where it leech seeds and protects little by little, which it does effectively against Pokemon Colossal hit for a lot of damage. So it's just trying to switching into Hydreigon to take that fire.
Now
was incredibly
does
good because he
Bishop
can see
get
most of that
justified, or is
damage
that
right
Define?
back to himself. So they
Define, okay.
so powerful coming from Hydreigon. It just eliminated 30% on a Bishop, which is not very effective. Still not understanding what Hayes is doing for Hurley here. I'm sure with that move pool is great for Dynamax because of all the boosts that come along with it. But I don't understand
think
why
that's
he's
what he
pushing it so
expected, but I don't think he quite. I don't know. He may have thought it got rid of the seed.
read into the mind there, but now we're seeing the setup. That's Sandaconda trying to get a quick coil there so it can get the defense boost and then G-maxing or Dynamaxing, excuse me. It does have a G-max form, but this is the Dynamax form immediately next to it.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised not to see the G-max form.
No, the G-max form is great because it will trap a Pokemon in and they cannot switch out, so you can just continue to either set up or just build it. But continuing on with other moves, that Max Flare on the read into the Bronzong was amazing. Like I mentioned, the Levitate ability had already been revealed, so there was no guesswork into seeing what could hit the Bronzong to take it out.
Right.
Hunter later on told me that was Max Fire Fang.
Okay, I was wondering what fire move it got.
It was Fire Fang. It is an interesting bit of tech to take out that Bronzong with no problem.
Sandaconda has a surprisingly vast move pool for a solo ground type.
And here with the 2 max Quakes, I feel like that definitely saved him from the Draco Meteor. Or at least it would have done way more.
That was Specs. I would imagine a special attack boosting nature Draco. That was a lot of damage into a 2-time special defense Sandaconda.
Yeah. And here he's just kind of steamrolling, so.
Sandaconda is just too thick at this point, and we have seen rest with the skin, so it's really, really hard to whittle that thing down, especially when you can't outspeed it with Pokemon like Colossal. Now, Dragapult, if he had a little bit more supporting cast, he could probably do something here, or if he could get crits, but there was just not a whole lot that done after Sandaconda got that all set up. It was just
snowballed pretty hard. Oh, Hunter only lost 1 Pokemon. I didn't actually catch that, so.
Yeah, big differential boost for Hunter.
Best overall difference.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't me.
For sure, getting the win and a +5 definitely set the lead. Yeah.
I think your game's up next.
So now these leagues, so we have 4 games. One coach gets a bye week. See Mark reveal his team his first next week against Hunter. This is more than likely. We're in a lot of ways. I would say last 2 games are very, very close. I'm going to get into these.
Okay, and first off, we have your game against Trey this week. What was you most scared of going into this week, Will?
Will is Elite Four, Will 23, by the way.
With old stretchy boy. And then Trey, Super Shogun. This has been a long way since the beginning of the league. Just pitting 2 players, I suppose, against each other. That sounds a little cocky, but I feel like we're pretty good. I was hyped for this matchup. Trey was hyped for this matchup, and just seeing his top lineup there are a lot of things that are no surprise. They're massive threats. The Duraludon, Dracovic, Rabon, just a plethora of reasons. No retreat. Toxtricity is just so hard and it's incredibly hard to kill. You get down to the bottom and you see kind of an interesting lineup on mine, and hopefully that'll flesh itself out as we go along.
Alright, now let's kick this match off. Pretty standard for the Rabombi lead for setting up the sticky web.
That's what I was hoping. That's why I led with the Dust Clop.
Can I ask why you burned it? Were you expecting a switch there?
Frisco on the Dust Clops, and I make the not back to full health. Probably get Rainy Kiss. That would have been pretty bad against a couple of my weaker Pokemon, and maybe get him back to full health to where that Focus Sash would have been activated. Also, Dusclops didn't have any attacking moves.
So I was surprised here when the Quagsire turned out to be not Water Absorb.
Unaware's the way you run him. That's really his best
yeah,
ability.
I know Unaware is really good now. I was just surprised, especially with the Dracovish, but it comes in handy here in a bit.
Explain myself a little later on. Dusclops just being the punching bag here. That was the only move I had that would administer any hit point loss there. It's really
yeah, I mean the Trick Room read into this was great.
Getting that Trick Room back up was the main. And it almost worked out. I feel like it was executing it under Trick Room. If it hadn't been for that Stun Spore, this Dynamax Copperajah could have really dished out damage.
Is very unfortunate, and I was also surprised once again not another Pokemon that can Gigamax, and we're using the regular form, which is I mean it turns out to be better in the end.
Defense boost there with threats like Dracovish still being in the game and not being able to operate under Trick Room any longer. It was more important to have that defense boost to where I could take damage.
Definitely.
Than it was to get Steel Spike set up on the field with the G9.
Just all the parahacks here.
Yeah, it's rough, but that's part of the game. I knew that I could still play around that potentially. I don't know what I was thinking here with Heliolisk, to be honest with you. I guess I was expecting to be able to Volt Switch out, but I was so much slower than.
Right, and here we see the Unaware coming in and putting in some work.
Thing I have.
Really the best move you could have done on that is put it on a timer.
Yeah, and that Unaware, even though he keeps getting those max knuckle boosts, there's just nothing that it can do, so I could just sit there and recover. It seemed like a cheeky play, but I guess it returns the favor for the Parahacks, which, you know, it's unintended, but like I said, it's part of the game. That's where we're at with this as well. I do make a mistake here in a moment, and I don't care to talk about that here in just a second. The toxic damage is racking up on Phalanx really quickly, and he's not getting a whole lot of headway, even though he's trying to Ironhead flinch me here to keep me from recovering, try to chip me down. That Phalanx is on borrowed time, and with 41%, I'm like, well, okay, I might as well attack it now, especially since it's 0.5 special defense. And now I'm sitting at 59 HP instead of 100. I could have just toxic stalled that down.
You say you made a mistake, but who could have predicted the red card there?
There's no way to guess that, ever.
Right. Like, that's such a random item to put on a Phalanx. You usually see a life orb.
Was the harder play. Now, switching into the Heliolisk here was my answer. You had mentioned Water Absorb earlier.
Yeah, he's got dry skin, right?
On the Heliolisk. I was
unfortunately predicted out.
Yep, I wanted to bait him into the end. So he said he called that switch. It was interesting because Earthquake wouldn't have killed the T-Tar, so it would have 2-hit KO, I guess.
He brought it back, so we can assume it's banded or scarfed.
Yeah, it's hard to say either one of them. We'll get our answer here very soon. A whole lot Serena could do in this matchup, except for get rid of those webs. I don't want to lose it to that much damage. Dropping a Draco and it living was only fortunate for me.
Right. It's a good weakness policy hit, though. He didn't take a lot of damage.
And Duraludon was no threat at this point, and I made the decision to go ahead and eliminate it. Then comes Dracovish.
That reveals the
And it's
scarf.
scarf.
I mean, how much did you have
It
speed
reveals the
investments
scarf.
in
I
him?
should have realized that to begin with. There was nothing Duraludon could have done there. I should have hit the D-Dance button again, but I don't know. I felt like it was kind of ridiculous that a 3 times attack and 2 times speed T-Tar was necessary to win the game. For some reason, I just imagined that many stages of boost was enough, and it wasn't.
Was it 2 or 1.5?
It was 1.5 speed and then 2.5 attack because of the weakness policy proc.
Right.
So
like, I still
could have
think he
gotten the
might
2 times
outspeed you
speed.
even with 1.5, even if he's not scarfed.
I had times to be able to.
That's what I'm
outspeed
just
the,
wondering if you had any speed investments in him. But from there, with the fish,
Yeah, no,
it goes bad.
It was max speed, but it was an adamant native, so
Oh, okay, I got
that
you.
way I could get more out of the trick room. Yeah. So it was definitely a Dynax contingency. Like I could have had it. I was playing on at least a couple of different on the Dynax game. Team Raja. Those were Dynamax for me. You kind of have to set that aside like a mega. And if I would have just went for another Dragon, then it would sweep at that point. And Duraludon couldn't have done anything, and Switch Ins couldn't have done it. But Prey with that toy scarf and just being really patient with the Dracovish is so key because that Pokemon did so much damage, it was a real problem for the team. Hats off to him playing very, very well into the Phalanx and me bringing Trick Room. Trey really navigated and piloted the team well to where he could keep his wing con in the back to defeat the whole entire team. Game, love how the new features of this meta game with Dynamax and new Pokemon are coming to the light. Not really sure how I feel about everything as a whole for all of these games going into it, because there's so much still left to figure out. But I really enjoyed this game in particular with Trey. It was a great matchup. So props to him on the win. That 2+2 win him somewhere in I think 2nd or 3rd place, depending. I can't remember. 3rd place, right behind Russell. So it was a good game.
Right now. Ooh, for this one.
Hey.
You guys are hold in and ready.
Now,
Just before we get into any kind of analysis, I want to say just how happy I am to see Bolton on the team.
Dude, Bolton was a great bring to this match.
It's a
I'm
good
on the
boy.
top, by the way.
Yeah. It's on top.
I also had...
the only one time Corsola, Excadrill, and
So I also
and,
had
Obstagoon, and then at the
Jolteon
bottom
in the
you've got-
back, but a lot of Nathan's team was physically weak defensively, and a lot of those, I think I had Crunch, and Thunderfang did a good amount on Togekiss as well when I calced it, I think I did. But he was just the overall better bring instead of Jolteon.
Right. And then Nathan's team there at the bottom, Gary, was here. The Ferrothorn, the Galarian, Darmanitan, Togekiss, Arcanine, Mandibuzz, and Dottler. So
Yeah, I didn't
Still
expect
getting,
to
I
see
think
the
there are
Dottler. I expected
3
him to bring some kind of
players.
tailwind
Okay.
team this week, because he had Whimsicott. But I mean, the gorilla showing up, I was very scared of that.
I mean, very rarely do
right
you
on
have a
into
Pokemon
the
that
leads are because
very rarely do you have a Pokemon that, because of his ability, gets choice banned and you free him up for an item and you can choice scarf him, so he gets the benefit of 2 things. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah, I think, what is it, Bolton? Strong Jaw's the same as Choice, or Gorilla Tactics, right? It's 1.5 to all. It's only specifically to
Biting moves.
biting moves, though, and most of those are weak, and they have accuracy problems. The problem with Gorilla Tactics is it applies to everything. Even if he only gets 1 attack, that's just trouble for slapping any other choice item on him. Which usually Scarfed, which he was in
true,
Smash.
and that choice, right? The scarf on a Galarian Darmanitan even put ahead of a stupid fast Pokemon Voltron. I think Voltron's base stat speed is 121. So for a move and an ability and an item that locks it in and makes it more of a threat than fast, very well ability Pokemon just shows the strength of Galarian Darmanitan. That thing is a threat.
So when we were starting this match, I picked up Hitmonlee pretty much specifically to counter Darmanitan because it has Mach Punch. So I made sure to make Hitmonlee in such a way that I could kill him in 2 hits. I'm not going to reveal too much, but I considered leading him, but I just didn't think he would. So we'll see here in a minute what he leads with. I forget what I led with. I believe it was... I don't remember.
All right, let's jump into get a full refresher.
Yeah, so he leads Ferrothorn, which is good. Yeah, I let Hitmonlee just because I thought he'd lead Darmanitan. Switch out for that. He's get the guts. Figured I'd see what he was gonna do. And so I was like, this is a free knockoff here.
Especially if you're running a ability like Guts. Bringing in the Pokemon with Guts ability on a switch in to where it activates immediately and you don't even have to use Obstruct is great.
It's
and then
so good.
testing out what kind of attacker that Arcanine could be dual threat is amazing. I want to point out this close combat here now. The Guts boost at -1 stage. That close combat was it did a lot of damage anyway. There's no stopping Obstagoon from going out of that, but that was massive in taking out a huge threat right from the get-go early on in this match in turn 4.
So you'll see I switched to Mantine because I know he's going to Dynamax this thing and I use Haze. He's still going to get... I thought about clicking Tailwind first, but I'm glad I clicked Haze now. Just because I don't think Mantine would have been faster anyway than Togekiss.
Haze was definitely the best move for sure.
And so I Dynamax here just so I can get the max guard off. But you'll see here in a minute, Nathan does the annoying thing. When a Pokemon's faster than you, they can just waste out your Dynamax with a substitute. So I'm not going to be able to... So my Dynamax is wasted, but I mean his is gone too, and his net value is just 1.5 speed. So it's not too bad.
Back to good old-fashioned Pokemon.
Yeah. So I've got to click Thunderfang here. And I'm afraid it's going to... It has a 95% accuracy, I think. Unfortunately, I don't miss. So... And then this next turn, I've got
that Strong Jaw kicking in.
Strong Jaw kicking in. So I've got to make the decision if I want to save this thing or not. And I calced and made sure Corsola could take the hit. I had plus defense here, 252. And Dean has it written down when this match goes bad. I don't know when it goes bad. Is it turn 37?
37
is when the stall starts beginning. But I got a strength sap to keep that up. Didn't know what the dollar really was going to do, even though I believe Nathan told me before what it had. So I try to rock slide and I'm like, wow, that doesn't take anything at all. So you'll see. It is thick.
Boosting its defenses.
Yeah, you'll see here in a minute. You'll see the Eviolite, and it gets Recover, which is crazy. So, I mean, it is Psychic, so the Dark switching is pretty good. But, I mean, I brought this thing, too, to take care of the Dottler, just in case. Which it doesn't kill, but it gets the Eviolite off.
Definitely cripples it at that point.
It's essentially useless at that
Knockoff
point,
is
as well as my...
invaluability. Yeah, Knockoff so much better against all the Eviolite Pokemon in the meta, right? Because
Yeah.
of the lack of fully evolved Pokemon, there's a lot of very thick Eviolite Pokemon coming in.
No, Excadrill isn't faster than Arcanine here, so I've got to switch out. And it gets the foul play off, but that's fine.
Let me ask, the item was on Boltund.
The item on Bolton was an Expert Belt.
Yeah, that's a very neat tech move that allows you to switch up and still get a lot of damage. Just
Yeah, it did have the Life Orb on it, but I needed it on Hitmonlee.
Strong Jaw ability, so.
And I'd seen previously people or
Sure.
Showdown put an Expert Belt on it, which just makes sense. And having Curse Body is really good too, because then you can't use a stab move. Problem is I can't burn this Arcanine.
It has recovery as well.
Yeah, he's got Morning Sun, which is annoying. So in a minute, this game turns into a complete stall fest, which we're gonna skip through. Dean, I may think it started a little earlier.
Yep, we're going fast now.
Yeah, so just a bunch of strength sap burns, stealth rocks, trying to waste each other's moves. I do end up running out of strength saps eventually. I sacrifice the Bolton, try to kill the bird. And it's very difficult to get no flinches on the rock slide. He does burn the Corsola eventually. I don't know if that just happened or not, but... Just Corsola can stall, but it can't kill.
On Pokemon that are thick and get their own recovery, if you have a high HP stat, you can pretty much outstall Corsola. Especially if you have your own recovery. It's incredible.
So yeah, he had a few bulky mons. This bird is a problem. If it had knockoff, I'm pretty sure he would have won, because then I couldn't have stalled.
That Nathan has moves like Roost and Morning Sun means that in total he has more recovery moves than Corsola does. So I think at one point there was a time where Mandibuzz and Corsola were tied in the amount of power points of their moves in total. So it was pretty much just a stall game at that point.
Yeah, he tries to kill me with Darmanitan, so I had to hit Strength Sap. It's just a matter of
anybody can come in and play these kinds of games, like to play around stall. Stall is a very hard game style to play around. So having even Trifecta and a Pokemon on either side to try to play around that stuff, it really does take some skill.
I choose to lose Excadrill just because I have Stone Edge on Hitmonlee to try to kill it, but I can't risk losing Hitmonlee. I missed the Stone Edge. I did.
It'll make up for it.
Yeah.
Mount up some free burn damage.
And I'm trying to get the Mandibuzz to an acceptable level where I know Nathan's gonna hit something that won't damage me, like Defog or Roost. And then I switch out. I hit the Stone Edge, which is great. I believe he switches out here. Yeah, he's trying to save the bird, and I actually hit the Stone Edge and get a crit. I'm not sure if the crit would have mattered. I have Life Orb, so...
It did.
It did?
After getting intimidated like that, even with Life Orb, because Excadrill with Mold Break, well, not that the Mold Breaker makes any difference, but Excadrill with Earthquake, or running like a Dynamax Earthquake, after taking Intimidate only does like 30% to bulky Arcanine, which that set was. So I
let the Corsola die here because I can kill anything now. He opts to switch out, but at this point it doesn't matter. I can just Mach Punch again and kill it because it's so weak. And then I can just, like, I think Mach Punch did maybe 80%. I don't quite remember, but he's definitely below the threshold to where I can just finally kill Darmanitan, fortunately.
Yeah, the Mach Punch Bring was the tech that definitely sealed you the win. There's a lot of crazy stuff in that game. Obviously, the amount of stall was crazy. The way that playing on Dynamax with both Substitute and Max Guard on your side. Haze on the Mantine was incredibly good. And then, just a couple of key moves. There were 97 turns in that game, but a lot of it comes down to just a couple of them. The Stone Edge towards the end was big, and the close combat at the beginning was big. That Max Guard was huge that you pulled off there to kind of slow down that Togekiss and then eliminate it. There's just a lot of really, really good stuff there. And then the Pokemon that you can rely on for a long game, and Mandibuzz, Arcanine, Corsola, those Pokemon are just, they're so thick. This meta is so full of thick Pokemon that it just brings these games to, like we see here, 97 turns.
It's a very, very slow meta. Not too slow, but it has slowed down from Gen 7.
the Hitmonlee. I think that was an excellent bring, especially the build you did. It's maybe not the most popular, but it totally worked for this game. It did a lot of really, really good things, including sealing the win. So very
Had to bring
nicely
it.
done,
That's
Thomas.
a Domanitan counter for sure.
Hard battle, very hard fought. I can't wait to see. Now, I don't think this is a conference rematch, but can't wait to see you guys get, and that's going to be a good one. This one was a great battle to begin with.
It was a good first match of the season.
I would just like to point out just
A lot
how
of people-
big the cursed body kicking in on that Darm was towards the end of that game, because
For sure.
I,
Yeah.
you know, that set up a lot of bad things for Nate's team.
It just forced some switches, and you couldn't stay in and keep clicking attacks, obviously. So.
Also a really good counter for Darm. Unless he Dynamaxes, but fortunately he didn't Dynamax the Darm.
Yeah, Dynamax and Darmanitan is kind of like a low priority play because he loses that choice scarf if you're running it with that set.
It's true.
You do get more access to choosing moves, which is fantastic, but you don't get the speed boost anymore. So you're back to 95 base stat speed. It's hard. It's hard call to make. So the Dynamaxes in this game in particular are very. I was so happy to see do it because Togekiss is needed to be a good setup sweeper for a long time. Just never has really had access to a lot of ways to get faster, and now it has, outside of agility, of course. But and then I really liked the Boltund because Boltund, with its ability as a Dynamax, can just start dealing out so many hits. I don't know if the ability affects with its Dynamax, but it definitely would take advantage of after the fact. So setting up the electric terrain and then using a strong jaw move with Thunderfang was really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of unsure about Bolton, but his speed's great. And just having him as a physical electric attacker, being able to switch between him and Jolteon, I think is going to be pretty important.
Yeah, for sure. So looking forward into next week, we've got a lot of really great matchups. I think I alluded to the fact that we have Mark showcasing his team. We'll have a reveal there with his first game of the season coming in and playing against Hunter, the winner with that Sandaconda sweep.
And he got rid of
we have a lot of other
Cramorant,
great featured games.
which I was disappointed about.
That
Mark got rid of
I
Cramorant.
wish we could have seen Cramorant with some sort of competitive viability, but I think the Dusknoir pickup was definitely more advantageous.
It's definitely better, but
yeah, it's definitely a better pick. Week 2, we've got Manchester Mr. Mimes. That's Coach Russell versus the San Francisco 49tails. That'd be Mr. Hurley. Then, as I mentioned, as advertised, there'll be the Mark preview with the Tennessee Smokescreens and Vito King. Our third matchup will be the Orlando Magic Bounce, your Coach Thomas, that we just watched, versus the Houston Broncos with the Dracovish. Then we've got Mighty Ducklets versus the Miami Dolphins. We play Nate, my little brother, the brother, and then meet the bye next week. So we get to kind of see this next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a break and seeing what all gets used next week. More information for me.
that's true.
Week 1, everybody just kind of opens the toolbox and shows a little bit of what they were working with, even if it's maybe not the best strategy, just to kind of see how some of the dynamic. And you'll get an extra week of seeing that, and it'll be good to watch how everybody else is developing. You'll get to understand what kind of strategies they're working with as a competitive.
Yeah, Trey is my second conference game, so I have both of those out of the way. So that'll be interesting.
That is great. So yeah, okay. Turns out that there will be a rematch between you and Nate, as well as there will be a rematch of you and Trey. It's gonna be good. I think get a lot of good games coming out of our conference plays. Now the conferences are the Doug Trejo's Dean's team, Mimes, and the 49tails, which is Hurley, in the Sword Conference. we'll have the Magic Bounce, the Dawn fans, and the Rockets, which is Trey, Thomas, and Nathan. That's their own conference. That's a good little group there. And then the Gun Conference because of memes, and that's Benito, Mark, and then myself at the Mighty. So there's going to be a good competition throughout the regular season. Anything else you guys we try to sign off here?
So I think that's got us covered for this week. I'd like to thank everyone that watches the video for tuning in this week, and hopefully they catch us again next week and the rest of the season.